And I can see in your eyes, sir, man to man, that you know exactly what I'm saying. I've no doubt in my mind. You know exactly, I know the game, and the game is up.
It has long been alleged that family courts across the UK conspire with police and social workers in order to steal people's sons and daughters and put them into care in order to generate revenue for the state. This has been written off by many as simply a bogus conspiracy theory. However, for the first time, Robert can now prove this to be true. The following video contains real footage of a confrontation between Robert and a man acting in the role of sheriff within an administrative hearing in a public building. In this hearing, Robert challenges the authority of the sheriffs who had unlawfully put the son and daughter of Robert's sister into care previously based on false allegations and fraud. Despite no crime in law having taken place, no consent being given to any legislation whatsoever, and not a single point of Robert's argument being rebutted, the man, acting in the role of sheriff, ignored the law of the land and made a ruling under a legislative rule. In doing so, the sheriff perverted the course of justice in favour of the corporate agenda. People's sons and daughters are being unlawfully stolen and being put into care across the country on a daily basis. It is important that this video is made viral so that people can see for themselves the crimes that are occurring against the people. With that in mind, please like and share this video and help make this video viral. The information contained within it is very important.
Firstly, sir, there's a couple of questions I would like to ask yourself, just to verify the status of this court today, right? Because there's a conflict of interest here, sir, and I've got evidence to verify it. Is this a court, sir, or is it an administrative hearing, sir?
Sir, I'm not going to answer any questions. I will hear your submission.
I need to know who I'm in front of, sir, because every time I come to this building, at this venue, we are prejudiced with every man on the bench, or woman on the bench. So I require, sir, this is a public building. I am a public, and it's the public that pay the people in the building's wages, not the corporation, sir. I have to know if this is an administrative hearing or a court, and I have that right, sir, in law.
This is a hearing in terms of the Children's Hearing Act.
Right, sir. Well, firstly, right, the conflict of interest, sir. I've been doing some research, sir, and I've got major issues here. It's came to my attention that Renfrewshire Council Social Work Department is a private corporation. I have evidence here today to prove that. I also have the Children's Report Administration here. Their number is a private corporation. Also, Renfrewshire Council, the main council, is a private corporation. St James's Street, the court administration, the very court administration staff in this court, sir, is a private corporation. I have evidence here from Dun and Bradstreet, the numbers, everything. So this is prejudice. It's marred with prejudice before this case even starts, and it's not acceptable, sir. I have copies here, sir, to verify what I'm saying is truth, and I'm willing to stand on a witness box and verify it under a charge of perjury.
Just give me your copies.
There you go. Thank you, sir. The thing is, well, sir, I could have took it a step further, but unfortunately for myself, I do not have the funds. I could have required and got every account for everything that's been shown to you yourself today, sir. The business transactions and all these things that I've just, all these entities, sir, that I've just produced in front of yourself, presented, is trading for profit, which is not right in this court, sir. This is supposed to be a public court for justice, and there is no justice, and there has not been done any justice in this matter with my sister and her property for 2014, because everything's been marred with prejudice for day one, including the court order, sir, from Sheriff, the man known by the name of Sheriff Ireland. He gave an order, and in the order it was stated by Police Scotland before that there was no evidence to prosecute, so that wee boy should not be in care, sir. Everything is done based on assumption, presumption and allegations. There is no crime in law, legally or lawfully. There is no harm, loss or injury, legally or lawfully, sir. The other problem here I have, sir, it's my understanding I'm lawfully qualified, not legally qualified. I was legally qualified, but every legal document or a woman, firstly it would have to have the status man or woman in the Act, and also the name of the man or woman would have to be in the Act for it to be applicable to a man and woman. And statutory legislation, the other issue here that I can document and verify even on a charge of perjury, is that the Scottish Government, the entity known as Scottish Government, everything is done with entities, sir, corporations. There is men and women such as the lady there, Leona McPherson, represents the Scottish Children Hearing Administration. There is no man or woman called administration. There is no man or woman called court. And there is no man or woman called local authority, right? So what's actually happening here is personation under Scots common law, sir. I will give you the definition of this, sir. It's when under Scots common law, sir, and that's the law of the land. Right, and I'm verifying that. No matter what English legislation is put in Scotland, because Scottish law is unique. Right, the Scottish Government are firing through statutory legislation through the back door without disclosure to the people and without consent, and they're making rules and regulations, and that's all it is, sir. Legislation is a rule on a legal society, on a legal person. Renfrewshire Council is the status of a person. It had the same status as a man or a woman appear in this court. When a man or woman, like in a criminal case, walks into the dock, they ask if they're that they don't ask them for the man or woman's name. They ask them, are you that person, when you dispute the name. And if you don't agree to the person's status, you get remanded in custody for 20 days. I've done this, sir, and I know how it works without a shadow of a doubt. So, to be crystal clear, sir, there's two men and a woman here today making a claim, and it's stated on the documents a verified claim, because only a man or a woman can make a claim. We're not here to appeal under a legislation. We're not here to beg, and we're not here for permission. We don't require permission, because man is the law in the court, and the law, man created the judges' positions in the court, and man created everything under that. There's a creator, then there is man, sir, and that's a fact. Again, I'm willing to stand in the witness box and verify that under oath and a charge of perjury, and I challenge any man or woman in this court today to rebut that, including myself, sir, with all due respect. So if we're going to proceed, sir, I require stay on this case. I do not wish this case to proceed because it's marred by prejudice, and I've have evidence. I also have more evidence, and I'll give you some examples, sir. The whole of Renfrewshire Council, the entity, is registered and done in Bradstreet as private corporations. The whole of Glasgow City Council is the same. Every court administration in Scotland, including the High Court, is done in Bradstreet numbers, so they're private corporations. They're acting in fraud against the people of Scotland because they're defrauding the people out of their inalienable and inherent rights, sir. And you cannot get justice within these courts because it's corporate business. As it's stated, when the tannoy comes over outside, court 1 for business. I'm not here to do business here, I'm here to get justice, sir. And if I cannot get justice here today, sir, I require a judicial review to the High Court, the Court of Session, so I can get justice in a man's court, sir. Because I'm not going to go under any acts here today. I don't consent to any legislation for any man or woman in this court, because there is requires it, and if there is, please document and verify the findings, facts and conclusions in law that you rely upon, and the crime in law, if I don't accept it. All I want, sir, is her property returned, because her property was taken, stolen from her on false allegations and malicious, and Sheriff Fife deprived her of her right to a fair trial in a court. I get removed from the court because I challenged the man's authority with politeness. She was kept out of the court. The social workers and the judge colluded in the hearing, and I can verify that in private capacity under full liability, sir. Again, on the witness box under a charge of perjury. That she did not get in there to defend her case. She did not get the chance to rebut any evidence put to her. And under any court rules, including your own, sir, you have the right to see your evidence and your accuser in a court and get justice. It's been denied from the minute the order has been made. Every court case in this case is prejudice, sir. And if you yourself, sir, no you, I don't mean that in a bad way, sir, you yourself, because you can only be yourself because you're a man up there on the bench, are going to try and persist to move this forward under our legislation, sir, I require and ask politely for yourself to recuse yourself, sir, and get me a proper judge that knows the law. Because we're not in law here just now, we're in corporate business, sir, and I don't consent to that. My sister doesn't consent to that, my father doesn't consent to that. And if I'm denied that, sir, it's going to the High Court, and I'm also going to report this matter to the Judicial Office with the strongest terms, because everything I say here today, sir, I can document and verify with prima facie evidence, and I won't stand the charge of perjury and verify that. The other thing, sir, that concerns me, right, The lady there, Leona McPherson, time and time again, she's only been on the case a short period of time, specifically talks about evidence that she reads off a document. For evidence to be admissible in a court, sir, and I verify this in private capacity under full liability, it has to come from a verifiable source with first-hand knowledge. This lady has nothing. She has no standing in this court, sir, and I verify that. My sister, my father and myself have standing, sir. We have first-hand knowledge and can verify everything on a charge of perjury is truth. But again, sir, this case is marred with prejudice. There's collusion going on with the reporter, collusion going on with the panels. The panels are volunteers. They have no authority to make a decision because they state clearly that it's a local authority that authorises them. I challenge the local authority to send the man or woman that's making a claim, because we're making a claim here today for my sister's property, sir. We want restoration of property, and time again, sir, evidence has been put in this court requiring that to be done, and it's been ignored because we're being treated and our status is being diminished to a person when we're not a person. I don't accept the status, sir. No man or woman on this planet is going to tell me I'm a person. I don't care what robe they wear, or due respect or not wear, and they're not going to tell my sister or father. We're flesh and blood. My sister created her son, her property, and she can claim his property. She gave it life and breath, sir. She's the creator, no God or anybody else. The mother is the creator of her property. And for anybody to claim the right to steal her property would have to come forward under law and make a superior claim that they have a superior right. And no man or woman is going to do that, sir. And again, all due respect, including yourself, I do not consent, sir, for this case to go ahead under statutory legislation. I want a proper case and a proper court, sir, where I can get people that's telling lies in a witness box and prove the point. We've been denied this numerous times. Every time we come to the court, well, I don't know if this is a court, it's a place of business, we have had warrants to get havers and witnesses to this court, and every time it's been denied. That's us being denied justice, sir, because again, the status has been diminished from a man or a woman to a person, and I'm not accepting that no more, sir. And I'm not being disrespectful to yourself, sir. I'm telling you how it is, and I know what I'm saying is 100%, and anything I've stated here today, sir, including the High Court or the Supreme Court, I'll stand in a witness box and testify and swear under an oath to a charge of perjury anywhere in this country, sir. And I'll challenge the authority of any judge, sir, because I'm really upset with the way this family has been treated based on lies and fabrication of evidence. Police Scotland are even a registered corporation, sir. Your town hall in Paisley's a registered corporation, and your library, they're stealing the people's public property, sir, under corporate greed, and I'm verifying that, sir. I've got all the information I need. I've exposed it. I'm not sure, but you might well be aware of the video channel I have, sir. I expose everything with the truth. But again, sir, we don't consent to this going under statutory legislation. I require a judicial review to challenge the statutory legislation under law, sir, in a court where a man can be heard, not a person, because I am not a person. And again, sir, I challenge any man or woman in this court to show me their person, if they have a person, because I've never met MD's person. That's all I've got to say, sir.
This section has been skipped as the recorded audio was unfortunately muffled and is largely inaudible. Essentially, Leona McPherson, children's reporter, tells the judge that she cannot answer what has been stated by Robert and quotes supposedly applicable rules from the 2011 Act. She states that on multiple occasions the paperwork sent by herself had been returned and rejected by the family. She claims that what Robert has previously stated has no merit, is vexatious, and that the judge should reject the appeal. Note, it is not an appeal, it is a verified claim by two men and a woman under common law.
I do, sir, yes. Right, sir, okay. Now, that bit was the point that was just the start. This woman's assumed that I've not got anything to say about what's actually happening. But I've got plenty to say about what's actually happening here, sir. Right, firstly, I've been denied the right to see my flesh and blood nephew. No crime in law. Social services have fabricated two cases against me. It's in my paper, sir, if you've seen it. Fabricated two cases against a man and his family, and I've destroyed the two cases. And my sister and father, the fiscal, had to drop the case because it was proved to be lies, including police officers lying under oath, including social workers lying under oath. Right? My father and my sister have been denied the right to have appropriate time with her property, her son. Right? It's been cut to 2 hours to 1.5 hours a month, right? And I want to know who's making the claim of that authority, because there is no man or woman going to come forward and do that, sir, and I'm verifying that, right? For her property to be taken into care, there would have to be a crime in law, like abuse, sexual abuse, assault, verbal abuse, or the child was suffering, malnourished and not attending school. None of that's happened. The wee boy had 98% attending at school. He was always at school every day, and the only time, maybe a couple of times he was off school, was when he was genuinely ill, which wasn't very often, right? Before the order was granted to take my sister's property, I had for 6 months, Friday to Sunday, right? Friday to Sunday, sir. And that's been taken away from me for no reason, no grounds in law, right? Now, papers, the papers there, right? Relating to these papers, we don't have to accept these papers. These papers are related to a fiction known as person, right? The statutory rules allow, sometimes we get letters with all capital names, sometimes we get an uppercase R for Robert, uppercase S, and a title. I don't have a title, my mother never gave me a title. The title was created by the Legal Society, when you fill in the forms in black ink, all capital letters, uppercase letters, right? We have a family name. I don't know if you're aware, sir, but I presented documents to one of the lady at the front here, the clerk staff. We've copyrighted our name, sir. I've got it noted, sealed and stamped and signed and verified. So our name is our property, and we're claiming all property rights to that name. And for somebody, or man or woman, some man or woman, to come forward, they need to make a claim and say it's their name. Right, that's the fact of the matter. Right, there's no law requires us to take those papers, right, and there's no crime in law. And if there is, sir, please document and verify the findings, facts and conclusions in law that you yourself rely upon as a man, and the crime in law for not accepting them. They're not for us, they're for the fiction, sir. And I can see in your eyes, sir, man to man, that you know exactly what I'm saying. I've no doubt in my mind. You know exactly, I know the game, and the game is up. Right? Because the legal system, right to the court, to the High Court's a total fraud, and I verify that in private capacity under full liability, again on a charge of perjury, sir. Right? It's terrible what's happened here with this family. The lady at the other side of the table has been allowed to present evidence she knows nothing about. Right, because for evidence to be admissible, it has to come from a verifiable source with first-hand knowledge, and she has another. She's only come into the case last year, sir. She's talking about things that she wasn't even in the case. And relating to Dorothy McKillop, she's the woman that started this nonsense with Ros McAllister, lied and fabricated and bullied my sister in her own home and had her in tears, and told her one time that it was Moira Hanratty, she's now retired, that the panel had made the decision her son and daughter were getting taken into care. I phoned the reporter, Moira Hanratty, and she said that can't be possible because there's been no hearing to hear this. This is the nonsense we've got to talk to, sir. Now, I want to know where we've caused harm to that boy for him to be taken into care. Right? I've also got evidence at home. People are losing sons and daughters on a daily basis all over this country. They're even getting into the hospitals and taking newborn babies unlawfully, sir. To say it's legal, but it's certainly not lawful. Because people don't know the difference between statute. There's two laws, sir. Statutory legislation and common law. And what's actually happening? Well, for instance, if you get charged with a common law crime, they take you to the police station, they caution you under common law. But when they come back to you, come under statutory law. So what they're actually doing, sir, is using fraud, personation to charge you under a rule. And that's what it is, as a rule, because it's not a law. And I'm verifying that. Because for a crime in law, there has to be an injured party. And there is no injured party, including her property. This case is based on lies, sir, fabrication and corruption with the judges, Sheriff Ireland, Sheriff Fife, Sheriff Pettigrew. Everyone has been involved in this matter. I'm verifying it, sir, as corporate criminals. And if you lock me up today, fair dues, right? Well, that's the truth, and I'll verify that under a charge of perjury, right? It's terrible what's happening. We've not had a fair trial. We've not had as for the time bar on the thing that the lady at the other side of the table was talking about. I don't know what she's talking about, because we never got the opportunity to go for that. And it just happened to go through a time bar, conveniently. Again, this is not going to go in statutory legislation. I want a judge, a proper judge, if this is going ahead today. And what I will say, sir, there's another thing that my sister's asked to present. And everything, a thing in the copyright name document, sir, there's a statement of fact and truth. Right, sir, basically what my sister what she's basically doing is actually challenge yourself's authority, right, sir? It says that the woman Roseanne conditionally accepts any orders on the basis of claims that being verified by proof of claim by any man or woman acting in the role of sheriff or any man or woman representing the children's administration, the reporter, or the local authority in private capacity under full liability. Upon proof of claim that she's a person and not a flesh and blood woman. Upon proof of claim that the man or woman acting in the role of sheriff or any other man or woman that represents the children's administration local authority knows what a person actually is in legal terms, lawfully speaking. Upon proof of claim that the man or woman acts in the role of sheriff and any other man or woman, I'm sorry about the repetition, sir, but this is the way it was done, that represents the administration or local authority knows the difference between a woman and a person, and there is a difference. That upon proof of claim, I'm not really saying, I think I've got another copy for the lady there, because it's no fair that I'm doing this and she's not got a copy of it. Upon proof of claim that the woman acting in the role of, or man or woman acting in the role of sheriff that represents the or the woman or man or woman that represents the local authorities knows the difference between legal and lawful, and there is a difference. Upon proof of claim that I, the woman Roseanne, as a legal fiction person known by the name of Roseanne Sproul with uppercase R, uppercase S for Sproul, or the all capital name, being the entity in which the man or woman acting in the role of sheriff or any other man or woman that represents the Children's Administration or local authority paperwork was addressed and not Roseanne of the family Sproul as commonly known. Her name is her property, sir, and I verify that because it was me who got it done. Upon proof of claim that there's a verified contract with full terms and conditions and consent was signed by the woman Roseanne and any other man or woman accepting liability in private capacity for the claim that he or she has a superior claim to the property of Roseanne. Upon proof of claim that the orders are for the flesh and blood woman and not the person, a legal fiction. Upon proof of claim that the woman Roseanne is a member of a society whose statutes and subsiding regulations that the man or woman acting in the role of sheriff or any other man or woman representing Children's Administration and local authority is enforcing against the woman Roseanne. Upon proof of claim that a woman Roseanne filled in any paperwork or showed the man or woman acting the role of sheriff or any other man or woman representing Children's Administration or local authority any identification, any legal identifications are fraud, so I'm not verify it. Private capacity under full liability on a charge of perjury. Upon proof of claim that there is a nameable society that the woman Roseanne belongs and that the laws covered within any alleged transgression state jurisdiction that it applies to a woman within that named society. Upon proof of claim that the man or woman acting the role of sheriff or any other man or woman that represents the Children's Administration or local authority document and verify the law that applies to a man or woman having to accept any orders without consent where there's no crimes in law have been committed under common law. Sorry about the time this is taking, sir. We're on the last page now, sir. Upon proof of claim that the man or woman acting the role of sheriff and any other man or woman that represents Children's Administration or local authority verify that the woman's name is stated, why the woman's name is not stated in the Children's Scotland Act 1995 and why it is assumed to be applicable to a flesh and blood woman when it clearly states person. Upon proof of claim, I require the man or woman acting in the role of sheriff or the man or woman that represents the Children's Administration to verify why it states person and not man or woman in the Act. Upon proof of claim, I require the man or woman in the role of sheriff or any other man or woman that represents the Children's Administration or local authority identify who the man or woman is known by the name local authority who is making the claim of the woman's property, and will that man or woman come forward and verify the claim he or she has a superior claim that is his or her property. Two things to go, sir. Upon proof of claim that I, a woman Roseanne, can contact the man or woman called local authority to claim my property back. Right, and upon proof of claim that the order served by the men and women representing social work department to steal a woman's Roseanne's property is for a living, breathing, flesh and blood woman and not a fiction as known as person was a result of a breach of contract, and it was also based crimes in law or lawful verifiable claim with a superior claim made by the man or woman in private capacity under full liability, unmarred by prejudice. And everything is marred by prejudice, sir. Everything. And I verify that. Now, sir, these questions are directly, mainly to yourself and the lady at the other side of the table, and I now require answers to these because we want to know who's making the claim, because only a man or a woman can make a claim. A fiction cannot make a claim. It has no life, cannot breathe, cannot talk, cannot write letters. We're making a claim. It's my sister's property. There's 3 verified claims, and it states it in the paperwork here, sir. And I'm sure as an honourable man, acting in the role of sheriff, you know the difference between an appeal. An appeal is to beg. Appellant is a person. I'm not interested in the legalese or the dog language that's being used here today by the reporter. Right? I want to speak common language that I understand as a man. If that's not rebutted, all these points are not rebutted, so they stand in law as truth and fact. As you're aware, that's the way it works. And I require it to be done in private capacity as a woman known by the name of Leona McPherson and yourself, the man known by the name of McCartney. And I want it for and on the record, because this is going to the High Court today. This is definitely going to the High Court. because enough is enough, sir. My sister has done no harm to her son. Her daughter was even took on the basis of that order that was lies, and they defied her daughter's wish to stay with the mother when there were no harm, loss or injury committees, sir. They took that wee girl on the basis of nothing. There was nothing for them to take her. I'm in the process, sir, of working on a claim that I'm going to lodge in the Court of Session against Social Work Department, Children's Reporter and panel members, because the panel members have no authority, so they're volunteers, right? Unless they're coming forward with a superior claim, they have no authority. If we want to proceed under statutory legislation, sir, I still require the opportunity to call the witnesses. For the lady there, the lady at the other side of the table to say that's a nonsense. I want to be heard, and I want my sister's case to be proven, because I can prove without a shadow of doubt everything's a total farce and lies and allegation. Thank you, sir.
Unfortunately, the camera battery ran out and no recording exists of the conclusion of this hearing. Upon returning, the man acting in the role of judge made an unlawful ruling against the family under the 2011 statutory legislation. He was in the process of giving another order against the family, but before that order could be given, the family stood up and left the hearing. The reason for that is, if the family would have sat and listened to the order, then it would have been considered accepted by acquiescence. Silence is consent, i.e. a tacit agreement, and the family did not consent.